Hello everyone, this is Ellie of Herbcraft by Ellie Apothecary, here for another Timeless Collective ASMR Tarot Quest. This is the long form version. If you like shorter form, meaning 40 minutes down to maybe 5 minutes, a few days after I publish this long form, I publish all the other messages into shorter videos. Check the community and you'll find the post for the long form, and you'll also find another post when I publish the shorter form after that one with all the links, or you can just subscribe, which is awesome too if you do. Thank you to everyone who is here in the community, who is tuning in to this message. For those of you that want to skip the chit chat and introductions while I read into the message, look in the description box. There's a timestamp right away before the read description. Otherwise, for the rest of you, hello, how are you doing? I hope you all enjoyed the last tarot series. We had what, like 7 videos that came out of that one long form with 7 different messages for different groups in the collective. That was pretty cool. I always link the last reading or two in the description box. I also drop the Divine With Me playlist, which is the collective playlist. You can find all of the readings, long and short form, pretty much since, I'd say, January of 2025. And you can also find my channeled messages playlist there as well. That is like, it has some of the messages from the Divine With Me, but it also has channeled only messages, or light tarot mostly channeled messages. I'm a psychic medium empath, and I am an open and safe source for the divine to channel through. I'm also a professional astrologer, so if I talk on astrology, I hope you enjoy, first of all, and second of all, know that when I speak on astrology as far as the cards go, I'm reading the cards and the energies of the cards, the meaning. Same goes for any gender stereotypes. Masculine means active, feminine means receptive. And then of course there's neutral, which isn't talked about as much, but it's there. It's like that in-between liminal space of not really being active or receptive. So I read the cards as the gender they present as far as the traditional tarot, but you can apply it to yourself in any way, to other people in any way. You should also know that I try to keep it a higher octave here on this community and this channel, because we are a spiritual community that I am growing, and that means I don't tend to allow karmic energies into my readings. So if you're looking for that kind of style, you'll probably want to just skip this whole reading, and happy travels. I hope you find the readers that are right for you. For those of you that love to kick back, grab your favorite snack, tea, coffee, hot chocolate, fidget toy, whatever. Just relax. Let's get into it, yeah? So today the moon is in Gemini, but again, this being a timeless message, meaning that when you found it, you were meant to. So there's a message in here for you somewhere. Not every message will resonate with everyone, because there are multiple groups in the collective I tap into in each reading. As a spiritual guide, I am leading everyone through avenues of exploration here. And in case some of my current subscribers are so curious about my style, I happen to have a conjunct Venus and Mars in the 10th house in Aries. So yes, I am a bit of a master of the quest. I am very forward moving, and I like to guide and help others on their quests. As a slight disclaimer, which, speaking of, there's an official one also in the description box, I have a tendency of activating people on their spiritual journeys, and if you feel drawn to this message, it's possible that's something that could be in store for you. But I find that most people I'm working with already are on the journey or have completed the journey, it's never a complete journey, but I mean, an awakening process is more what I meant. But those of us that have been around the block a few times already, thank you for holding space. If at any time you want to drop some inspirational comment below with your own guidance, if you yourself are a leader in your community, I would love to hear it. And I'm sure other people in the community would love that as well. You should know that I'm a non-denominational channel, which means every spiritual belief or non-belief is welcome here, but this is a spiritual flavor over here. So we're going to end up talking about deeper concepts. We're going to dive deep. I happen to have a Pisces sun sign and a Cancer rising. I talk about my personal astrology to help other people understand astrology. And yeah, I'm very authentic, and I hope that you will be the same. Take what resonates, let the rest alone. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. If it seems like it has to do with somebody else you know, it's possible it is. Trust your intuition. And everyone from different level of your journey is welcome here. If you feel like you want to share how this reading impacted you, I do request that everybody try to keep it a little more balanced over here. And remember, while we're all here for each other, there's a time and a place sometimes for unloading our stress. You know what I mean? I'm a huge proponent of mindfulness, meditation, and I'm also an advocate. I'm not a medical or mental health professional, so any observation I share here is simply for spiritual guidance, soul guidance. I share a little bit about my journey sometimes to help others see how I've gone through it, and I hope that whatever I do choose to share will help others, because that's why I'm here. I'm here to help and serve the collective. Alright, so I don't usually pull cards before the recording starts, but I had a false start recording. Mercury is retrograde at the time of this. Speaking of Gemini, Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. But I started to record and then I decided to restart, and while I was getting into the zone, I did pull 8 cards. Okay, and I'm doing an intuitive read, but I have multiple lines here. I have 3 lines. And as we were just talking on this recording, I pulled a 5th line. And I'll let you know, the energy is really quick today. I'm really feeling that Gemini Mercury energy. If I stumble over my words, or if I get weird accents, or if I combine words or create new words, that's usually spirit channeling through me. So just, have some grace, if you don't mind, for me, some patience, and for yourselves during this retrograde period. If you're interested in knowing more about the astro highlights and Luna notes for July and a little bit of August, I dropped a video under that title, plus it has a psychic oracle read at the end. And I also made a smaller video with just that oracle reading as well. I'll probably drop those in the description box too, so it's okay if you catch it near the end of the month. You can kind of look back at the astrology and be like, how did that apply to me? You can do that with readings too, just use it how it works for you, because timelines are constantly changing and going on at the same time. Time is not actually linear. The concept of time, the tracking of time in the 3D world is linear, but we get a little quantum over here. We get a little 5D, so buckle in. I'd like to ask that everybody take a deep breath so I can chime my bell 2 times, and then a second deep breath, and then we are going to dive into this reading. Ready? Deep breath in. Out. Bell. Deep breath in. And out. Thank you for being here, everyone. So we have about 15 cards that came out. Intuitive read. The moon is in Gemini. Mercury is retrograde, which rules Gemini and Virgo, by the way. And Gemini is an air sign, rules communication, local travel, moving parts, electronics, contracts, all kinds of things. And when the moon is in a sign, it's what colors the energy of the collective. And every time I do a reading, I set the intention that the energies of the collective with whatever moon sign we're in shows its positive influence, or we learn lessons through its energy in each reading. I tend to notice we pull more cards of that nature if it's meant to be tapped into that energy. If not, it's more of an assistive background energy. So it really doesn't matter when you get to this reading, the energy is going to be there. And if you're fascinated to see how that could personally affect you, you know, the emotions of the collective, whatever sign the moon is in, look at what part of your chart you have that sign in your chart. And that's going to show you how it will personally affect you. Or, of course, you can book a reading with me. I do astrology readings. Booking site and email are in the description box. I thank you if you do book with me. I'm thinking about having a fall special for my prices for both tarot, astrology, and psychic readings. I don't know, I'll announce something after the retrograde. Definitely check out my August Astro Highlights and Luna Notes for more when I publish that in the coming weeks. So thank you for being here. I'm working with the Cosmic Tarot, and let's go ahead. I'm going to read off every card to you throughout this reading. First 5 cards, left to right. And again, using the Cosmic Tarot, my usual collective deck. By the way, this is Ellie, in case I didn't tell you that. Ellie of Herbcraft by Ellie Apothecary. Alright, 5 cards top. 4 of Swords, Queen of Pentacles, King of Wands, Temperance, 7 of Cups. Second row below the 4 of Swords is the 8 of Pentacles. The Moon below the Queen of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles below the King of Wands. Prince of Swords below Temperance. The Empress below 7 of Cups. Next row, we have the Princess of Wands under the 8 of Pentacles. The 2 of Pentacles under the Moon. And the 2 of Cups under Ace of Pentacles. Along with the Ace of Swords under the Prince of Swords. And the 4 of Wands under the Empress. Whew, I just got chills. This is definitely looking like hopefully a higher vibrational read, which is typically where I aim to please. Beautiful. I'm just going to read into this real quick. All right. Let's see who this first group is that I am tapping into. What messages would you like to share, Spirit? If you like the music, check out my Divine With Me playlist on Spotify. My profile link is also in the description box. And the collective playlist is called The Same Thing for readings. That's also in the description box. While you wait, feel free to check that out. It's a lot of information to process. I will announce any synchronicities I see. Like 2-2, we've got the 2 of Pentacles and the 2 of Cups at the bottom, the foundation. I like that we have the Ace of Swords under the Prince of Swords under Temperance. That's really about like balancing truth, clarity, having balance because of some kind of clarity, which is really important during Mercury retrograde, because as some of you know, communication can get really misconstrued or jumbled. Things can get missed, or people can end up in conflict. But fortunately, again, this seems like a pretty higher vibrational energy. So first thing with the Four of Swords, I can say whoever this group is that I'm going to start with, hello, welcome. Four of Swords is all about resting after heartbreak, recovering. Sometimes it can mean recovering from health issues, though I'm not picking up on that so much. For me, it looks like some people have gone through something together, a group particular, some of you in this particular group, okay? So if it doesn't resonate, maybe the next message on this quest will be for you, okay? Thank you for your patience if it's not your part of the reading, right? If you're here, there's something here for you, okay? So have faith. Yeah, I feel like there's a group here, possibly some friends, for some of you it's old friends. For some reason I'm picking up a strong military influence here, a group of old military friends. This feels like reminiscing over the past hurts and wounds and experiences and battles, and that could be literal if you were a veteran. Thank you for your service, by the way. If not, it's just like it's a group of friends looking back at the past and how hard some things have been, but now you seem like you're resting. You're in this state of, you know, everything's going to be okay. Let's just take a deep breath and just enjoy the moment together. Just breathe. Just take things slow. So I see 4 people here, and they all have their 4 swords on a tapestry blanket. It looks like the sign of Jupiter here. Planet of expansion. Symbol on the cloth that's in front of them. So it's like they are expanding through communication. Mercury retrograde is great for reviewing old conversations in the past. Anything retro, anything is going to be important during these periods. And it is a time of rest, you know. It's a time for thinking of slowing it down and focusing on the finer details, which is the Mercury in Virgo aspect of Mercury. Virgo is Earth, but it's the one sign that pays the absolute closest attention to detail. It's like the background communication. There's some chatter here as well. Looking at the 4 different characters on this card, it looks like one person's smiling and looking off, kind of nostalgic. Like another one is kind of awkward also on the other side of it, and these 2 in the middle are more conversing casually. So it's like whatever this social group is, most of you feel like you can be yourself. There's like 2 primary figures, and it could be more or less than 4 people. It's just how many are in this card, right? Oh, and interesting, we have 4-4 here as another synchronicity. My 4-4 angel reading keeps coming up, so I feel like if you've been listening to my readings and I recommended the 4-4 angel read, definitely check it out if you haven't had a chance, or check out one of the shorter form versions of that. There's a message there for you. It's also interesting that we have 4 at the top left and 4 on the bottom right. Crisscross foundation. For some of you, you have traveled cross country to come together, which, you know, I've heard that summertime is a great time to have like cross country trips if you're in the States or wherever you are, going from one side of your continent to the other, to your country, to your state, to your city. It doesn't have to be, since we're in Mercury energy, it could be short distance travel, but I'm sensing this particular group, people had to come together. And it's interesting because in the heart of the read in the middle is the Ace of Pentacles. For some of you, this is about building something with this group of people. Something that's going to be very successful, because Ace of Pentacles is a big old gift from Spirit. It's usually financial or material. It can be a new start, a new beginning. It can be a windfall. It can be a huge investment that's looking very positive. I'll remind you again that this is not business, financial, or legal advice either. So anything I tell you, it's messages from Spirit and what I'm reading through the cards. You apply it how it fits. Again, there's a disclaimer in the description box. But from what these cards are showing is if you are a group of people coming together, you're planting a huge seed here for your futures. For some of you, this has to do with spiritual matters and a new quest. We do talk about the spiritual journey a lot here. We have the Princess of Wands at the bottom left. Some of you have been working on this for a long time. Perhaps you're one of the center people who I'm talking to now. One of the people who's in the middle of it, who really knows what's going on, who was the most involved. And then the other person was kind of like the leader, because we have the King of Wands at the middle and the top here. There's multiple big key players here involved in this. One person's confused though. One person's kind of on the outs, and I can see that with this Four of Swords card. And that's, again, anything I say, it's not to call anybody out. If Spirit feels like it's important, there's a reason I'm mentioning anything. I, as a reader, as a medium, as an oracle, as a seer, is not judging anybody, whatever comes out of my mouth. So please don't take it personally. And if you do get upset by anything I say, definitely do some shadow work and be mindful and figure out why that bothered you so much. Because when you can do that kind of work, you can transmute your emotions and energies and just have a much more balanced life. And we have Temperance up here on the right of the King of the Wands, and the Two of Pentacles down here underneath the Moon and the Queen of Pentacles. I feel like the Queen of Pentacles is the one that might be a little confused or unsure, or is a little worried about what you can't see as far as the work and the planning process. It does seem like there's a lot of anxiety here. And even though I don't see the Eight of Swords, which is the typical sign of being stuck in your head, having sleepless nights, etc., etc., it's like a self-imposed prison. But I'm picking up the energy of that here. That whoever this person is that's slightly kind of keeping to themselves, maybe they don't feel included in it in somehow, or they're unsure of what their bigger purpose is going to be. And again, I don't typically tap into other people's energies because they typically haven't consented to being read on. I try to keep it focused on you. So if anything comes up about other people, then that means that Spirit's already gotten permission from their guides to my guides to read on them, because I get pulled to speak on them, and I use my discernment on what I discuss. But if other people are being spoken about, it's because it directly affects you. So think about how these other people are in relation to you. Or is it perhaps another aspect of you that you weren't aware of? We do go into the deep, the subconscious here, and we have the Moon card here. For some of you, this could be about the Queen of Pentacles, is this energy of you're stable, you have some comforts, you're really you're doing pretty well in life, but you're not quite at your peak. So maybe for some of you, this is kind of a risk, or you've got a lot on your plate and you don't want to have to juggle more stuff. With the Two of Pentacles down here, again with the Temperance and the Two of Pentacles, we have an emphasis on balance. We also have the Empress over here on the second row next to the Prince of Swords. It feels like somebody is reporting back to an Empress. They're watching. It seems like there is another figure here that's outside of this group who's in some great authority, in a position of power, who's overseeing through this person, this quiet person who's watching and waiting. Perhaps this is another outside part, like knows somebody in this group, and they also know this person in authority. And this is a feminine energy, so it's a receptive energy. The Empress is one of the most powerful cards in the entire tarot. It represents the Divine Mother. It's the higher octave here of the Queen of Pentacles. So perhaps for those of you that are feeling like you've got a comfortable life, but you're not sure you want to balance whatever this group project is, you either look towards, I feel like some of you look towards this Empress figure. Perhaps you're the person that is reporting back to this. This could also represent a parent figure or a grandparent or a mentor with more feminine aspects. Again, we're not talking about gender, we're talking about energy, so receptive energy, right? But the Empress is the ultimate creatrix, right? They can create anything from anything, and they do it with ease because they have an open heart and are receptive and grounded and have been through a lot in life. In order to be an Empress or an Emperor, you have to master all 4 kings or all 4 queens in order to graduate. I have another reading about I think it was Queen of Pentacles graduating to Empress or something. There's a divine feminine reading, and when I do divine feminine or masculine readings, we're talking about higher spiritual energies. We're not talking about TF dynamics, by the way. I don't get into those dynamics. So just in case you were wondering, it has nothing to do with that. So anyways, this is a higher spiritual being, and this could represent for some of you, who you want to become, and for some of you, what you're becoming, and then another part of you who are reporting back to this person. You know, it's possible that this person I'm sensing is one of these people from the group's wife or mother. That's coming through pretty strong. It doesn't have to be. It could be a father or a husband. Again, it's the energy of they're kind of sitting back and perceiving what is going on from afar. They're not directly involved in it. For some of you, I'm picking up that they may want to be a silent partner in this, and they have like the funds to follow it through. So their opinion definitely matters, and they definitely have the authority to have somebody in paying attention to the details for them, because they delegate just like the Emperor. They run entire, not just kingdoms, but empires, just like the Emperor, okay? I'm picking up this King of Wands is the one that is the leader in the group, the friends, whoever. I'm not sure if we're still talking about a group of friends. That could have been a side message just about letting you know that this reading might be for you, if only that part resonated. I feel like we're kind of veering off here, so we're going to go with it. King of Wands, it seems like they planted this seed. They've always been the leader of the group. They've always kind of been the star, the one you can count on to get you through. Again, going back to that military, it may have been your captain or general or higher ranking authority, and y'all kind of just still follow their lead, so to speak, I think. I'm picking up a side message here that this King of Wands energy, if this is you, you started this new beginning because you found a divine union. And that could be a divine union within yourself, the different aspects of yourself. It could be that Spirit offered you this seed that you're planting that is going to be very fruitful, and it's made you want to create a divine union with somebody else, perhaps this Empress. But I think if that's the case, you're looking at how you can take this the next level to become Emperor, to totally be in dominance of your reality. And now remember, to materialize things with the law of attraction and manifesting, we also have to be in balance with the spiritual, right? So I feel like, and the King of Wands is very spiritual. All wands represent spirit and passion and fire and creativity and magnetism and magic, and or being closer to God. the concept of God. I'm polytheist, so I believe in all gods. You know, if that doesn't resonate with you, it's cool. I don't judge you for your beliefs. Just saying that God's God. It's we're talking on energy like everything else, right? So I feel like some of you have trying to bring other people down this spiritual journey with the Princess of Wands. Some people are very new to this. Maybe that's why this one person on the outside that's unsure, maybe they do fear the unknown a little. Maybe they're not ready to awaken. And if that's the case, then it's wise to, and I just glanced over at the Ace of Swords, this is the truth. It's possible that you need to let that person go their own way. Because you have to remember, when you're collaborating together and you're trying to grow something, whatever it may be, in whatever realm, in whatever relationship, for whatever purpose, everybody's energy is going to ping off of each other. So if there isn't balance there, if somebody's like dragging their feet, or they're skeptical and they won't find reason, or they won't speak up, and you sense that they're not quite on board, it's time to have a conversation. Now, look, Mercury retrograde, yeah, things can be confusing, but here's the thing. Anything that has happened before retrograde that was already in motion when the retrograde starts is okay to follow through on. So if you started these conversations, these chats before the retrograde started, then it's already in motion. It's a great time to rework things and negotiate, and maybe not make any definite plans until the retrograde is over, but it's a time to weed out people who are not interested or who are not ready. Because if you want the utmost success, excuse me, talking of Mercury, jumbling over my words, if you want the utmost success, you want to make sure your team is solid. And we're talking about foundations here, because we have the Four Wands over here underneath the Empress, wedged next to the Ace of Swords. Yeah, and also, you know, across the board here, top right, is the Seven of Cups. So it's very, there's some confusion or illusion energy here, perhaps. If this does have to do with spirituality, and it could be something about like getting a group together to celebrate your faith, right? And it doesn't have to be a coven, it doesn't have to be a church, it doesn't have to be, it could be a yoga troupe. I mean, whatever. If somebody doesn't believe in the vision, if they're confused, they either need clarity or they need to bow out. That's what Spirit's saying here. Because it can cause other people to juggle. Remember, energy is like a ripple effect, and most people are not energetically aligned 24/7. People who are spiritual practitioners and guides and spiritual leaders tend to cleanse themselves more often, tend to meditate more often, do what they need to do to stay in alignment, which puts them on a different life trajectory, a little outside of the norm, the mundane, correct? And then they ground that energy to apply to others in order to help them understand. So perhaps this King of Wands here needs to find a way to ground the plan, especially with the Ace of Pentacles below the King of Wands, ground it into reality more for this person who's having a hard time understanding the concepts. And if after all these talks have gone through this retrograde period, and again, this is a timeless message, so if it doesn't apply, well then perhaps you can apply it in another way that it's hinting that communication is an issue, okay? This way you can go forward with your plans. You can do really well here. I see that somebody's really passionate, has already done the work. Somebody has done a lot of work behind the scenes, and they're satisfied. They know what they're investing in, and now they're kind of sitting and watching to see what the rest of the group. I feel like that's this person on the Four Swords on the right who's kind of looking nostalgic, kind of in dreamy world. And it's funny because across this row at the end is the Seven of Cups, which can also represent dreams. And perhaps they're the dreamer of the group. They're the ones that come up with a lot of the creative ideas. And even though they're not directly involved with this leader here and the other person that seems to be engaging in conversation, they're a huge part of this. They have a lot of the creative foundation and they have invested a lot. That's probably why they're so chill, because they've surrendered it and they already have faith in whatever this is. The other person that is here in this, and this could represent different parties, again, it could represent different aspects of yourself. They're listening. They seem more reserved. Perhaps they're the Prince of Swords, the one that's paying attention closely, studying, learning, but not really speaking up on. The one that's connected to the Empress over here, whether that be a friend or a child or a student of this Empress, this mentor figure. Let's have some shop tea real quick. If you'd like, drop your favorite snack or beverage you enjoyed during this reading in the comments. The engagement does help the channel, and I appreciate knowing who's a part of the community. I don't know if everyone's aware of this, but I can't see who all my subscribers are. Also, I don't know if I'm not supposed to give these secrets away, but I don't really care. I'm a very authentic person. When video premieres, I can't see who's watching the videos, okay? The only way I know if you're participating is if you start talking in the comments. I've done a couple of premieres now and I've left the chat open, so I may do that again from time to time. It's not like a live, but I am there to engage with the community if you want to experience it for the first time when it drops. So just keep that in mind. If you're a regular part of the community, feel free to subscribe. I'd love to have you here. And thank you so much. Oh, that's some good tea. Heavy on the passion flower and red chili pepper. I think I've mentioned this before. I own an apothecary and I have like over 200 herbs in my tea cabinet, so I just kind of throw a bunch of stuff in for the moment. Anyways, let's get back to the reading. Thank you for your patience on this journey. I just got that somebody in this group is being led by spirit with their ideas. Perhaps this this dreamy character over here, I wouldn't say they're a visionary. I feel like the King of Wands is more the visionary. They're the ones that make it happen. They can see the trajectory. They can push through any barriers. They can rally the troops. But this person, the dreamer, we'll call them, I feel like they're being guided by spirit. If this is about a spiritual group or some kind of collaboration or a retreat or an activity or an event, I feel like somebody might be a channel here. They may actually channel creative wisdom from source. I'm picking heavy on the angels because this is the card Temperance of Archangel Gabriel. And I actually mentioned in one of the shorter form videos from the last tarot quest that Archangel Gabriel was guiding somebody. It's in one of the titles, so just check out whatever the last few readings were before this one, if that calls to you, of course. Yeah, especially over here, like zigzag to it is the moon, the psychic, the subconscious, the hidden, the deep. The feeling behind it. Somebody's been working on this for a long time, so it's possible whoever this creative type is was the original one to come up with the idea. It's like they told this King of Wands, and the King of Wands planted the seed and is directing everything. And then I feel like this Queen of Pentacles is the one that's very grounded, already stable, but also kind of not sure if they want to take the risk. And then we have the Prince of Swords here. I do feel like at least two of the people in this group have a deeper connection than the others. I said that at the beginning, but we have the Two of Cups here, which can represent a divine union. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's romantic. We can have divine friendships, okay? It's like the deepest soul bond that you can think of in your life. That's a divine union, okay? And if there's a lot of heartbreak and pain and just chaos, that's a karmic. That's not a divine. However, know that divine unions can turn into karmic situations if people veer off course. So that's important for somebody to know. Somebody here is looking for the truth in something, and they don't feel like they can build on this foundation until they have it. Perhaps I'm picking up a side message that there might be some kind of secret in this group. Yeah, with the moon, there's something hidden. Perhaps that's part of the skepticism here, just somebody not believing in the vision. And I'm not trying to call anybody out, and if it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply. Maybe it's just supposed to make you think, like, do I have any weak spots in my own philosophies and my own dogmas? Am I going the right path? Am I leading these people in the right way if you are the leader? And for the visionary, are these ideas, can they be tangible? Can they be brought back down to earth? Perhaps that's the part here that this Queen of Pentacles plays in this entire thing, is bringing the skepticism, bringing the logic, and therefore that kind of balances these fiery and watery and air energies. You ground this group, even though you're skeptical. If this is you I'm talking to now, there's something you bring to the table. It's consistency, it's stability, it's security, it's sustainability. But I get the feeling that you've worked really hard for everything you have, and while you really love this idea, you're just not sure. And that's okay. Maybe look at that, at things as to why you're not sure. I'm going to shuffle the cards again and see if I can get some answers here. If you stay to the end of the long form version of this reading, I'll probably do a psychic read on an oracle card. If you don't want to stay that long, check out the shorter form videos. It'll be posted in a few days after this one. If you don't want to miss any of my content, hit the all notifications on when you subscribe. I really appreciate your engagement. Feel free to hit the like button if this resonates at all. If you feel comfortable talking about what you're working on, I'd love to hear your experience. So, what advice, Spirit, can we give this Queen of Pentacles? The one that's the grounded, semi-skeptical, not sure about this. And again, it doesn't have to be a spiritual community. It could be something else. It could be some kind of something with your coworkers, that maybe you've worked for a long time with these colleagues and you kind of have that same camaraderie. Like you've all kind of been through some things together. Maybe you've built something from the ground up before, and this is like a new project, and maybe some of you feel like you don't want to go down this road again for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be negative, but I'm channeling here that some of you feel like you don't want to invest in this again. Maybe you just want to pour into yourself instead of spending all your time with this group. Yeah, with the juggling, with the Two of Pentacles here. Having that fair energy exchange, maybe you feel like you end up with a lot of the physical work, which I could see that. If you've got the King of Wands, who's the self-starter, the one that takes the action, the one that makes things happen, the charismatic figure, and then you've got the visionary, the dreamer, the one that comes up with these creative ideas, who kind of takes that the next level. And then you kind of ground this energy. You actually take the physical steps to make sure whatever needs to be fulfilled is fulfilled. You could also be an organizer. You could be the one that makes the physical things that other people think of if you're working on making something tangible here, some kind of product possibly I'm picking up for some of you. And maybe you just don't want to do that. Perhaps there's a way, I'm picking up before I even pull any cards here, to see if you can outsource, maybe get an assistant. Maybe that's what this Prince of Swords can be for you. This is a separate message that whoever represents this more grounded energy, perhaps you need somebody to run information, to delegate to, not just to this Empress, which we were talking about, maybe that's how you become the Empress. You learn to delegate. I'm picking that up very strong from Spirit right now, but let's see what they have to say with the cards. King of Swords. Yes, execute your will. Speak your truth. Work smarter, not harder. Because King of Swords is the king of air, right? They rule the intellect. They also are more detached and tend to really take their time using their discernment and their will. Perhaps that's what you need in order to not only graduate to this Empress figure, if you really do care about this project and you are interested, or this group of people, or these different aspects. This could also represent a family, by the way. This could represent a family, totally. It could be, I'm getting for some of you a couple. One's a little more grounded and one's a little more passionate. And then there are 2 children here. For some of you, 1 child and a grandchild that's teen years. 30s for the child. That doesn't have to fit. That's for somebody specific. And then the Empress represents an older figure, or the person in authority who's going to help make this decision. I just heard alone. For some of you, this could be about getting funds to plan a trip together. We were talking about cross country. For some of you, this could be about traveling. And if it is a family situation, so this is kind of veering off, then yeah, making sure all the details are correct. And again, with Mercury retrograde right now, it's not really the time to be traveling, but if you already planned the trip before the retrograde, just, you know, give yourself extra time and look at all the details and make sure you have a good plan and that everybody communicates well. I'm not going to tap too much more into the family dynamic there, but that's definitely for somebody. For some of you, I feel like this is about, this King of Wands wanting to offer something to an Empress figure. And everyone else is everyone around them that's trying to help them with this situation. So Queen of Pentacles, I hope you got some answers there. Let's see what we can help this King of Wands fiery figure understand. I'm picking up the side message about love, because the 2 of Cups is about a divine union, either within yourself, spirit, a close friendship, or it's usually love. Okay, especially with this card from the Cosmic Tarot. It's 2 people in a sweet embrace kissing with flowers everywhere. Their 2 cups are like all cozy and leaning into each other. It's possible you've been working on something that you want to bring forward to this person. I kind of feel like it could be the Empress, but I feel like it's somebody else here. Maybe the Queen of Pentacles. Maybe you kind of see them as having the potential to build something with the Queen of Pentacles here. Like, you see their potential as the Empress, but they're still kind of the Queen of Pentacles. Wow, yeah, you definitely want to communicate this with the 8 of Wands. If that's what you're feeling, then you should go for it. Again, if you already knew this person before the retrograde, and again, if this is a timeless message, so just focus on communication and not it being a retrograde if it doesn't fit. But Spirit is saying that, okay, if you knew this person before the retrograde, and it's something you've been thinking about, then make the first move. Communicate. If you have just met this person during a retrograde, then wait. Maybe think about how you're going to write or say or do or approach this person. I feel like this is getting a little more personal and a little less about the group project. So if you were a part of that group project reading, you're welcome to hang in there to see if I can get anything else for the Prince of Swords or the Princess of Wands or the Empress, but we may be veering off into a different direction. If so, thank you for coming. Please give a like to the video, and I appreciate you. Alright, so yeah, this King of Wands here. Yeah, and I dropped it over the King of Swords. You know, you already know what you want to say for some of you to this Empress or Queen of Pentacles, we're going to say. I just heard to this earth angel as I look at temperance. Maybe you view this person as an earth angel, somebody who is a sweet healing soul who's got a higher purpose, just like you as the King of Wands. You know they're aligned with your spiritual path. For some of you, I'm picking up, if this is about a divine union, you know that you're supposed to ascend with this person. And some of you are ready to communicate and you want to come in fast. So what advice can we give this person on top of that? Wow, we got the 10 of Cups, y'all. 10 of Cups. Woo! Oh, that's exciting. That's everything. Spirit's telling you that you are correct in your assumptions. This is total wish fulfillment. This is everything. And again, like, remember, timelines are always changing. So if you haven't found this person yet, but you feel that tingle in your heart space, you know it's coming. Especially if you're a spiritual person, you can already feel it. It's already on its way, especially with the 8 of Wands and the King of Swords here above the 2 of Cups, wedged in with the King of Wands on the top. Some of you are thinking about sending in a friend to talk to this Empress if they already are on the level of Empress with the Prince of Swords. Perhaps that could represent you kind of want to test the waters first, I'm hearing. And then, wow, Wheel of Fortune. Good fortune is assured. This is also a new karmic cycle. It's telling you to trust your intuition. Trust what you want to do here. And also for those of you that feel like you need kind of an in-between, possibly that could be fortuitous for you. For some of you, I feel like that has more to do with collaborations versus romantic. Perhaps you can see this person as a business partner and has nothing to do with love. That's for a side group. And you know that whatever you want to build here, especially with the Ace of Pentacles, it's going to create happily ever after for you both individually. Now, listen, if you're looking for a divine union, you want that anyways, right? That's how you have a higher love, is you both have together, you know, and then you build something new on top of that. You know, some people do that by having a child, which an Ace of Pentacles could represent. Some of you might be thinking about having a child. Some of you could already be with this Empress or Queen of Pentacles. But I feel strongly it's something that you want to build together. Perhaps a new life. Perhaps you've already been with this person and you want to take it to the next level. You want to tell them that they are their 10 of Cups. And that's the side message. If that's the case, don't use a mediator, okay? You got to do that on your own, let me tell you. I know it's scary to not want to be rejected, but what's scarier? Having not tried and not knowing, or trying and possibly succeeding? Like, I don't know. Do you want to live in regret, or do you want to live in hope? It's your choice. So I think that's pretty good. As far as the King of Wands here, as far as this business, because you seem like you've got your position, you've got your role, you know what you're doing. You're helping other people in the group. Is there any advice we can give to this King of Wands on the business side of things? 8 of Swords. There's something that you're keeping yourself, something's bothering you. And it's something that you can put down, that you don't need to worry about, but something's bothering you. Let's see if we can get a little more information. What could be bothering you? Judgment. Oh, wow. The awakening process. Perhaps you're going through another ascension right now, and it's like you are totally capable of leading others on the beginning of their spiritual awakenings, but you're unsure how much you can handle. Again, going back to the Temperance and the 2 of Pentacles across the board here. Perhaps you're concerned on how much you can juggle and handle, but you're the King of Wands. Like, you can handle it. It may not. If there's anybody who can handle it, it's you or the Queen of Wands, right? You got that fire. You got that direct action. You're the spiritual warrior of the tarot, okay? Next to the Emperor, of course. And we have the 3 of Cups. Celebrate everything you've gone through. If you are leading these people and you are the inspiration for whatever this idea, concept, business plan, new project, product, spiritual group, retreat, vacation, family dynamic, whatever this is, celebrate with your community. Celebrate what you've overcome. Judgment is the card not only of spiritual awakenings, but it's that life, death, rebirth process, right? It is the transformative process. And if people are in alignment with you, whether they're on your exact level or not, it, again, I mentioned earlier, energies ping off of energies. So you're going to ping off of your ascension with their ascension. And you can rise together even if you're on separate levels if you both believe in the vision. Okay? So you can find a rhythm, and it's through that feeling of community, that celebrating. I mean, you are the charismatic leader. So draw on that strength, okay? Draw on that strength, and you'll find your truth here. You'll get out of this. Like, if you, maybe you're just feeling really worn out, and that's why the Eight of Swords. I did mention I was sensing that energy at the beginning of the reading, which is interesting. So perhaps by being more receptive, kind of taking this this similar approach like the Queen of Pentacles, perhaps you need to do a little more grounding and be more receptive, because the King of Wands is very masculine, it's very go-getter, it's very active, right? And when you are the leader in the group, everybody expects you to be the initiator. Everyone expects you to take action, and sometimes other people don't pull their weight, and that can cause you fatigue and stress and anxiety. So perhaps by inspiring others to share their insights, their input, their ideas, how they would act, it not only gives them a chance to rise to your level and teach them and guide them, which you are, a guide, it also gives them the opportunity to show their strengths. And you never know, more could be positively developed through that. And what you gain is rest and ease, and you get to learn a little bit more of your feminine nature, because we have all these traits within all of us. So perhaps if you can sit back and just be in the moment and watch others in increments. I mean, you're the leader, you're the boss, you got your stuff set, right? But this is a training opportunity, so to speak. I feel it's more energetic opportunity, but it's going to help others. Perhaps I'm hearing now a support group for those that have been through it. So for some of you, this could be about military. This could be about a support group for veterans. Again, thank you for your service. Even if you're not in my country, thank you for your service. Anybody who risks their life to protect other people who can't fight is honorable. I don't care about politics or anything like that. Anybody who is self-sacrificing and trained and disciplined and worthy has earned a certain title in life that deems respect. I felt like that was necessary for somebody. Perhaps you've kind of felt like you're still like remembering the days when you were kind of like the Knight of Wands. You were more of the one on the quest who was on the journey, and the things you've had to go through to be where you're at. Maybe you haven't shared the emotions around that. Maybe you haven't expressed how all that made you feel. Yeah, you've shown people how they can get through it, but have you done the healing work? I feel like that's really going to get you out of your head if you can get more into your receptive, feminine, emotional body. And if you're completely uncomfortable with that, well, some people would tell you, well, then don't do it, which absolutely, but we're here for spiritual guidance, right? And Spirit's giving you this guidance for a reason. So I'd consider doing some shadow work and seeing, you know, why your mind is taking the way it is. That's, again, a good Mercury influence right there. And we are in a moon in Gemini today, so we're all about communicating truths here. And we have the Ace of Swords in the spread. Oh, by the way, there's another synchronicity. We have two aces here. Ace of Pentacles and Ace of Swords. All right, so I hope that helps you. Let's see here. Yeah, put down your burdens with the Ten of Wands. You got to trust that your group, your community, these people you work with, or this family dynamic, whatever it is for you, a lot of them might actually know more than you think they know about your process, and they want to help you put your burdens down here with the Ten of Wands. Okay? They really do. Some of them, maybe one doesn't care. I sense one doesn't care so much. They're a little more detached, but that, again, detached doesn't mean not care. It just means that maybe they're more aloof. Does that make sense? I'm picking up strong Aquarian energy, especially with the King of Swords here, which rules Aquarius, also Gemini and Libra, but they're a king like you, whoever this person is, who maybe is not the one that you want to talk to about emotions, but more strategies. But you've got other receptive energies here. Okay, so maybe there's one person in the group you really connect with on that level. Perhaps for you, you already have this divine union, this Empress, right? Merging the two storylines between the business and the romantic. So it's possible that you really want to do right by your queen, your goddess, your empress. Maybe you feel like this is going to make you graduate to emperor level. For some of you, you feel like your divine counterpart is a level up from you, and maybe that's got you in your head. And whatever you're working on here, whether it's interpersonal, personal, or collaborative, some of you, I'm picking up that you really want to give this person your all. Perhaps they were there for you when you needed somebody, and they've watched you grown through this process, through this transformative process. We did pull up Judgment, so they've already been through it, and it isn't always the case, but from what I understand, a lot of people believe that if you're speaking traditionally gender, which I typically don't, but I feel like it's necessary, Spirit wants me to talk about it. A lot of people believe with divine unions, counterparts, higher spiritual love, that usually it's whichever party represents the divine feminine typically wakes up first. Now, that doesn't mean that they evolve the quickest, but they typically go through their awakening first. Or it can also mean that the divine masculine wakes up before, but their course takes much longer. Maybe it's harder for you to learn lessons. Maybe you're a little stubborn. So it's like maybe you compare yourself to your empress. That's a very small, select few. If that's the case, Spirit's saying, look at your shadow, look at your insecurities, because you're building something beautiful here. You have a lot of support from Spirit. You are valuable. You've accomplished a lot. And this Empress, it represents a loving, nurturing, kind, receptive person. So to whoever I'm talking about, the one that is in this divine union, you've already got a solid foundation, and it seems like they want to support you. Whether this is energetic or physical connection, I can't say. This being a collective reading, it could be many different people. Could be many different situations. Now, I do feel like we're kind of starting to get to a point where I want to wrap this reading up. My quests tend to go anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. And I think I would like to do a read on an oracle card before I conclude this. So I just pulled the Seven of Pentacles card, which is about being patient, for some of you, you've already planted this seed. For some of you, you're already in this project, and perhaps you just needed to kind of know what was going on with the group. Now we have 7-7 as another synchronicity. I also have another angel tarot quest reading called 7-7 Angel. That one has also been coming up a lot in my readings as a reference point, and when Spirit shows me these synchronicities, I know that I'm supposed to mention it to somebody to definitely go check out that reading in the playlist, Divine with Me, or check out the shorter form videos of that long form message that are following that message. You can, if you don't know which ones are which, go to the community tab when you subscribe. And I make a post for every single quest, and now I'm making separate posts for the shorter form as well, a few days after the original drops, okay? So, yeah, we had a reference to 4-4 angel and now 7-7 angel. Only if you feel called, of course. But this is about investing wisely here. I feel like that's what this Princess of Wands is doing. Now let's get some advice for her, because I don't want to leave the Princess of Wands or even the Empress or Prince of Swords. However, I feel like we could be here for 3 hours if I get too nitty-gritty. I'm kind of focusing more on the leaders, and that's to not exclude anybody, but I feel like you're the ones that are here in need of the answers today, okay? And perhaps anything I say about these other parts in the group can help you, guide you in some way, right? So I feel like this one, whoever represents the person that's a little wary, that's recently awakened or isn't ready to awaken spiritually, or somebody who's not ready to hear new ideas, or somebody who isn't ready to start something new, or there's also an eager presence here of somebody who really admires you if you are the leader in this group. And again, this could represent a child, a student, a grandchild even, or somebody who's started the same career path as you, but they're new. They could be an intern. I'm picking that up for the work side of things. You are learning on how to invest your time wisely, how to be patient if you are this Princess of Wands. You're willing to do the work. You're right below this Eight of Pentacles here. So like, I feel like you are kind of this person off to the side that's unsure though. Maybe you're not sure if this is the path you want to take long term, if you are new at something, or a new addition to a team, or you just like reunited with certain family members. Mercury retrograde can bring up themes of reuniting with past loved ones or friends. You can run into people, you can hear from people you haven't heard from in years. Yeah, so like it's possible you are somebody who's known these people for a long time, but you weren't directly correlated with them. Two of Swords. Now that's interesting. Now we have 222. A number of balance and also divine union. It is a synchronistic number of that. Huh. Perhaps you're kind of looking at this divine union that this King of Wands and Empress, or King of Wands and Queen of Pentacles has. And you're admiring them. I heard a very small side note that some of you that are this King of Wands should be wary that this person is also a little envious. I just picked up a very side message, and I'm only saying this because Spirit thinks it's important, but they may have feelings for you. If this is a whoever this person just joined the team, I'm picking up for that particular group for work. And they do have a lot in common with you. You both are fire. And they're probably a little attractive, a little tempting to you. But Spirit's telling you to block it here with the Two of Swords. Obviously, I mean, if you're not available, you know what you should and shouldn't be doing, right? So that's just a side message. That's not this overall person, okay? For the rest of you who represent this like new beginner on this journey, some of you might be pushing back a little too hard. A little resistant to make a choice on something. That's specifically for those of you that are not sure if you want to go forward on this. You're very... something's blocking your way. What's blocking your way? Let's see. Oh, wow. Ooh, I just got chills. Full body. The Tower. The Tower is blocking you. You're in a Tower moment. It's okay. Just breathe. Breathe. Okay. So you're definitely, some of you are at the very beginning of your spiritual awakenings, and it feels like everything is crumbling around you. Perhaps I'm getting that some of you recently joined this team, started this job, joined this group because you needed something to get through this transition, And it's all seems to be happening really quickly, really fast, and it's like shaking your world up, which is what can happen when you start to spiritually awaken and emotionally evolve as a soul. Your concept of what was changes. And it's important to note that there are a lot of studies on the difference between, again, I'm an advocate, not a professional in the medical or mental health field, but there are studies out there on the difference between psychosis and a spiritual awakening. And it is possible to have both and to become fanatic and to get sucked in, and that's like the dark side, right? But that's not the actual overall truth. Most people going through awakenings are going through them alone, not with a spiritual group. Okay? You tend to end up with a spiritual group because you are guided to be a part of that. Spirit works to align you with people who can help you on your path. For some of you, I get that's what is happening now. And that could be why you're a little resistant to it, because you don't really understand it yet. Definitely speak to this King of Wands for guidance. They could be your mentor. It's possible you're already doing that. And if you need more nurturance and like solid advice, go to this Queen of Pentacles figure. And if you want to speak to somebody who's already been through it and who's comfortable in life, speak to this Empress figure. If you want the truth and the cold hard facts, talk to this King of Swords. You'll know who these people are. When I said them, I'm sure certain people popped in your mind. And again, you don't have to be a part of a special group. This could just be different people in your life that can help you on your journey, okay? I hope that helps you. I wish you all the best. If you need further spiritual guidance, that is something I do with my readings. And I'd be happy to help you. If you want to book with me, go to the description box, email me, or you can sign up for one of the live slots on my calendar, all right? If not, no worries, no big deal. I do wish you the best, all right? Now, one last person here, and I kind of feel like this King of Swords and Prince of Swords are the same person. Not only because they're two apart in the court cards, but I feel like it's almost like you've kind of dropped your level down and been more discreet in order to report to this Empress. But in the group, you represent more the King of Swords. You could be the one that's a little distant, not distant, but detached, a little more intellectual. You're very strategic. That could be why you're watching, waiting, and reporting back to this Empress. It's possible that you and this Empress have been friends for a long time. Like if this is a friendship group or a family dynamic, it could be siblings. It's possible that if this is a sibling relationship, that this Empress makes you feel smaller than you are. That's for a select few with a side message, definitely not everyone. So I'm not really sure what role. I feel like maybe you help with the strategy with the King of Wands. It's kind of like, or I'm getting, for those of you that were in a military group, troop, band, that you helped strategize and make the plans. You also were kind of the liaison. If this is work, you're kind of the go-between. You're the mediator. You're the one that follows things through with the communication. You actually, your strengths are needed at this time. I'm sensing for this group, especially during the retrograde, if you're catching this in real time, or if it's not real time, again, if you sense some communication issues. Oh wow, the Emperor in reverse just flipped out. It was upright, but it came out upside down. Let me get another card on that. The High Priestess. This is a very side message. And again, if it's not for you, don't take it. Don't get wrapped up in it if you don't know about it. And if you sense that it could be a possibility, then now is the time to think on it and pay attention and be like this Prince of Swords over here and study this person in this group. This is for a select few. This is not for everybody. And for the King of Swords that this represents, again, know that you're being seen, you're being judged by the divine. I am picking up here, possibly it's this Empress that can see. Perhaps she's seeing everything from a spiritual perspective. Perhaps she is a psychic medium herself, and it doesn't have to be a woman, but just reading the cards, Empress, High Priestess, sees someone here is not being transparent. Whoever this King of Swords represents, and it could also be not being transparent with her. Perhaps this person who downgrades himself to the Prince of Swords to speak to this Empress, perhaps they're being a little spiteful and giving misinformation. But the thing is this Empress sees all because she's also the High Priestess. What do you know? And I say this because the Emperor in reverse is a very unhealed person. It's the higher octave of the King of Wands, so I feel like for this side group, whoever this King of Swords represents, they want to dominate the King of Wands. They want to be the leader of the group. Perhaps they've put, with this intellectual work, they've done a lot to make sure the group was successful, and they've spoken great things. Maybe they don't feel appreciated, but they're not acting from their authority now. Yeah, there's healing that's needed here with the Star. It's also their personal wish fulfillment to lead this group and possibly overtake. What's that word? Not a monopoly, is it? Wow, I'm totally blanking on the word. You know, when like the captain gets overturned in a on a ship, typically. A mutiny. For some of you should know that this person is planning a mutiny. They could be planting seeds of their own to these other people. That could also be causing doubt and problems with this Queen of Pentacles. That could be why they're confused. So somebody here for this special message to the side, not for everybody. This person is trying to orchestrate your downfall and take your place. This isn't predictive, okay? Timelines can be changed anytime. But I just pulled the Justice card on top of the Star. That's like double confirmation that justice needs to be served here. Or they're going to receive their karmic justice for anything they've done, okay? And again, I was talking about clarity, about communication, about breaking illusions earlier. And also allowing people to talk about how they want to lead, how they want to strategize. Not only can you learn things by being receptive and sitting back, people will show you who they are, right? So the power of observation is very important for all these people involved. And if you are this Queen of Pentacles, perhaps you've picked up on this this King of Swords or Prince of Swords energy, possibly trying to sabotage the group. And maybe that's why you're not interested and you're not sure, but you do feel dedicated. So for some of you, it's not about not being dedicated, not being interested. It's more like, do I want to work with this person? Do I want to have to deal with the intellectual manipulation? Because there is the illusion card over here next to Temperance. And the Empress is below that. It seems like the Empress may know more. I feel like even though the Empress is kind of a silent party in this group, that y'all should consult her. Because she knows more than you think. And that could be negative, positive, or neutral, okay? I think the Empress is the only one we haven't read on, but she kind of just volunteered her own information there. This is somebody who's highly psychic, grounded, blessed, and in a position of some kind of authority. So, if you are the Empress here, would you like to share with the class perhaps what you might know that is for the highest and greatest good for everyone in this group to know? The Hanged Man. That's double Piscean energy with the High Priestess and the Hanged Man. We also have the Moon, so Neptunian, and also she's underneath here, the Seven of Cups, which is another Neptunian Pisces card. break through the illusions. Also, it's time for another perspective. Meditate, find clarity through going to your guides if you do have a spiritual practice, or just perhaps thinking on things, journaling, being mindful can help you resolve and see things clearly. Especially during a retrograde, this is why it's great to step back and kind of look at how all the parts are moving together, right? And Pisces is the opposite of Virgo, okay? And Virgo we were talking about earlier because it also is ruled by Mercury, but it's the earth, diligent, steadfast, hard worker bee, the one who's of service. Well, so is Pisces, its polar opposite, but Pisces is beyond the physical, is completely immersed in the spiritual, the highly psychic spiritual, oracle, seer, etc. They see all from an outside perspective, and Virgo, which is usually ruled by the hermit, sees everything in fine detail. They go inward, they do the deep studies, they are diligent, it's day in, day out kind of business, right? And it's interesting that this energy is coming up at the end of the reading because we are in the season of a Pisces North Node where the collective is going forward together, and the collective is every conscious being, right? And the South Node is the opposite, which is in Virgo. That's what we're leaving behind. That's what we're comfortable. So this is about getting higher perspectives across the board, especially if this is a spiritual group or a business group or a personal family situation. This is about doing some healing. So for some of you, this is about like making sure that everybody is seeing the full picture, zooming out, not getting stuck in the details, which if this King of Swords, that isn't for everybody, but if that resonated as far as the saboteur, we'll call them, know that they are very insecure and they have a tendency to be very toxic. So like maybe paying too closely to the details and what they're telling you is something you need to disregard. Maybe take a tool from their belt and be a little more detached, you know, as they say, take it with a grain of salt, right? Is there any other advice we can give? Because it doesn't seem like this Empress really wants to be read on, which is typical. If they are in that position of gifts, of spiritual gifts, they're probably highly protected and not able to access as much. That can be represented by the High Priestess as well. Queen of Swords, yeah. Okay, well, she understands this King of Swords because she at one point was the Queen of Swords. She's been through something here. She's had to speak her truth. She's had to put up her sword. She knows nonsense. So if this King of Swords thinks that they are feeding her incorrect information and she's falling for it, they are mistaken. Because the Queen of Swords is the coldest bitch in the fucking tarot. Excuse my French, but I'm sensing some hard energy all of a sudden. Someone here who represents this Empress is pissed. They're patient, they're receptive, they're watching, they're waiting, but they are not holding their breath. And perhaps that's why they haven't wanted to be invested with the group, because they are a supporter of this King of Wands over here. Or they are just a silent, separate party that can already see what's happening, and they're like, yeah, no, I'm cool just being a silent partner, as long as the group is still working together well. And she sees all, so she's not worried. She knows when she needs to cut out or cut things out with the Queen of Swords here. This is also telling the rest of the group to remember where other people's weaknesses and strengths are. To bring more nurturing and love and receptivity into that and not use it as a tactic or a tool. So perhaps this King of Swords over here needs to soften a little, work on healing some insecurities of lack, perhaps by them having a more emotional conversation. If they can get to a vulnerable place, they can actually be more successful and find a way to lead in their own way alongside this King of Wands, because I think they're forgetting that the King of Wands and King of Swords are equally matched. They're just successful in different ways. And if they can change their mindset, again with the Hangman over here, a different perspective, they can actually drop this stuff that they've been creating and focus on investing in themselves and going off of their strengths instead of trying to attack other people's weaknesses and confuse them to manipulate and control them so they can get on top. Now, some people like that can't change. Some people like that need therapy. That's not medical advice. It's just the truth. It's good to talk about things and work through them. And if there is someone like this in your group, you need to consider being like this Queen of Swords and cutting them out and finding somebody else who can do that part. And it's possible that this could prolong or delay your project or group or event or whatever this is, but it's also possible that you'll be more successful and have a more solid foundation by doing so. And we do have the Four of Wands down here. So there is already a solid foundation, but that's just for some of you. For others of you, again, this King of Swords is not toxic. It was just that one side message. It felt like somebody really needed to hear that. So let's pull back from that a little. In fact, I'm going to ding my bell to clear and cleanse. For those of you that are not toxic AF, you'll take a deep breath. For those of you that are this intelligent King of Swords, go back to the sibling analogy who might be reporting the Empress. It's possible you are like a yumber. That was weird. Umber? Umber. Is that a word? I don't think so. I know umber is, but that's different. That's mythology. Anyways, number. Spirit's trying to channel something there. Interesting. It's just possible you're intimidated by the shadow of your sibling or this coworker who seems to have been more successful than you, or this friend who's at a higher status than you. But other than that, you've got a very dominant role here in the group. You do have a lot to offer. Again, you're kind of the strategizer. You're the one that can stay detached from the drama. That's the positive side of the King of Swords, is you can cut out drama. You can get people together and communicate. It's possible that you have to mediate this group to kind of work out the kinks in order to launch, whatever this is, okay? Your advice is the Fool. Embrace new adventures. Embrace a new learning attitude. Take a trust fall. You know, whatever it is that you're concerned about in this group, or maybe some of your ideas that you've had, Spirit's telling you to just trust it and go with it. And to be more playful, to be more childlike. You know, the Fool in the tarot can represent both Aquarius and Aries. It depends on the reader. It's one of those cards that has dual signage attached to it. But, you know, it brings us back over here to the Star. There's like this deep healing. You have some very keen, higher intellectual concepts. I'm sensing for some of you, you could be an engineer, possibly a scientist. Perhaps you're building a patent. I'm not sure, but I just picked up that could be a very select, specific few. And maybe it's something that nobody else has ever tried before. It makes you kind of a visionary. Again, going over here to the Seven of Cups, that could apply to you. And you're trying to figure out all the different components. I just heard chemist. In order to create this. And then I pull the Hierophant. Wow, for some of you, you are the higher authority figure, not this King of Wands. And you are leading something huge here for the collective. You have a higher purpose here for some of you who represent this King of Swords. You could have a brilliant mind. And for some of you, you are highly intellectual and spiritual, and you know how to use your spiritual gifts to strategize and create an amazing reality, and that's highly beneficial to the entire group. Or it's perhaps you're kind of the boss and you're teaching this team how to work together on this. That's very interesting. Wow, you kind of kept quiet during this reading. Of course you would, because that's intelligent. I was talking about observance. Ooh, Ten of Swords, though. There's some kind of betrayal here that you're overcoming. What is this betrayal about? The Magician. Wow. We were talking about Gemini energies and how with the Gemini moon it's possible we'll get more Gemini cards, and King of Swords can also represent Gemini. I don't typically read sign specific in a collective reading. It's more talking about the energy, and we've already talked enough about Mercury and Gemini throughout this long form read. So this betrayal, it's either it's possible, I'm picking up from the last reading, there was a very side channeled message about intellectual property, copyright issues, possibly, patents, visionaries. You may want to check that last reading out because I feel like it's connected to your energy. So that could have been the betrayal. It's possible you caught that reading or you need to watch it. It literally was in a cluster of the readings before this one. So yeah. It's possible I'm sensing that you went through this with a different group and this is you starting fresh with a new team. And it could kind of make it difficult for you to be a part of this new beginning. Like you want to, you've taken a step, but you've had people work against you before. Even with having everything at your disposal, somehow you were betrayed in the past and you're kind of carrying this into this new beginning. So Spirit's telling you to be careful and also trust Spirit. If you are spiritual and you're getting downloads and whatnot, trust the guidance they're giving you because they're helping you manifest your best reality, which is not the same as what you went through. Yeah, Seven of Swords. Walk away from that which no longer serves you. And for some of you, if it happened in this group, if this group betrayed you, and you are actually the Emperor in reverse here, and that's your justification in your mind for creating sabotage with this group, then people are going to walk away from you, okay? Oftentimes the ghoster becomes the ghosted, and the one that creates any harm done in the dark will come to the light, period. It's the natural balance, and we have Temperance up here. So for anybody who's being unhealed and trying to get vengeance on this group, it's not going to work. You're just going to end up betraying yourself because you have something really profound here. For those of you that are not that stereotype of a King of Swords, you are you're coming through some things. You're learning how to believe in yourself again because whatever you went through really hit your confidence. For that really sucks, and I'm sorry that you went through that. That betrayal is not easy. Prince of Cups just came out, but sideways. You want to give your cup of love to something. This could be a person or not, but I feel like it's this project. You don't know how much you want to invest into it. And we did get the Seven of Pentacles earlier, so you're like, you know you have a lot to offer, or you're in the lead here. Maybe you're keeping yourself a little distant from the rest of the group. Again, I did pick up on some very aloof energies. So what advice can we give the one that's healing from betrayal and not causing more betrayal? Because, you know, we don't want to be those hurt people who hurt other people, right? Because then we're not any better than what we went through, whether it seems justified or not. The divine will execute justice, okay? If you trust in the divine, you work with the divine, then you know You know they will. It doesn't matter what your creator faith is. It's divine universal law. The law of equivalent exchange, which is the true law of karma, in my opinion. Yeah, Five of Wands. What is it that you want to fight for? Something you love or something that hurt you in the past? That's what Spirit wants to know, whether you're spiritual or not. Again, this is a spiritual reading for soul guidance, so take it how it resonates for you. The Sun. What makes you truly happy? I mean, for some of you, if you are the leader in this group, not the King of Wands, but you are the King of Swords, it's time to shine your light. We also had the Star here, which is also an air archetype energy in the tarot. So, like, how do you want to show up? Do you want to fight everybody, or do you want to focus everything in your dreams and being successful in that way? Because I guarantee if you focus on what you love and you transmute pain into creativity, you will be highly successful if you can keep yourself locked into the vision and work on opening your heart, healing your heart. Joy will help you transmute the betrayal. That is a healthy way, and again, I'm not giving medical advice, so when I say healthy, I mean it is a way that you can really work through these things, okay? Perhaps it's through doing something that used to make you happy as a child, because the Sun card often represents the child and happiness. That's also like, it's a promise of really great things to come, and I believe we had the Wheel of Fortune. So I hope that helps. I believe we covered every single group here. This was a very interesting read. It seems like my readings have kind of veered from the mystical down to the mundane more in the last few readings. And that's kind of interesting. My tagline for my shop is from the mundane to the mystical, because I work with both, as most spiritual guides know is the way you keep a balance and success in your own life. And that is divinely protected and guided. And I show up for the collective to help them realize that they too can accomplish this temperance. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed that. I don't have any shop updates, but I was thinking I would pull an oracle card. However, this reading has been going for a very long time, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do a full read. Sorry, guys. I've been trying to shorten these just a tiny bit. Not a lot, but just a tiny bit. But you know what I will do is pull a couple messages from the Cosmic Energy Oracle. Okay. And if you're interested in seeing some of the cards from this reading, I will use it as the thumbnail for this reading and also on the community post. I also cross-post that in my IG stories and my Pinterest. Those links are in the description box as well. Please give a like, a comment, share, leave a heart in the comments if you got this far. Wow, that is so cool. So, I didn't know there were 2 compassion cards in this deck. I just pulled both of them. And then the release card. So we have the first compassion card. Embrace others' differences. Accept your own imperfections. I really feel like that's for the King of Swords, okay? Compassion is the warmth of the soul. Give it to others and yourself. And that's just for this entire group. If you want to work together and you're all passionate about something, focus on that passion. Don't focus on the past or where you've come from. Be in the current moment. Yeah, release these old energies, whatever you're going through, and that includes your fears, your doubts, and communicate about things so you can learn what you need to weed out. This is release past burdens and embrace new beginnings. I think, what was it, the King of Wands that got the 10 of Wands? I was talking about how you felt maybe like you've been carrying these burdens and that you need to seek compassion from others. And there's double emphasis here on compassion for this group or this dynamic, or again, this could be different aspects of yourself. We are multifaceted beings. We don't have to fit in a box. We don't have to stick to labels and stereotypes. Explore your soul. Find out ways you can be more compassionate with yourself and compassionate with those around you. We are coming up, if you're watching this in real time, listening, whatever, we're coming up on a new moon in the next week. So we are in the waning moon phase. We are in a time of releasing and cutting out and healing and sitting still in the dark, right? And when you sit still, you can receive. You don't have to go into a full meditation practice. You can just sit somewhere and observe what's going on around you. And that could be anywhere. You just have to have the patience with yourself to be at ease not doing something. And I know that's hard for a lot of people in this world today. But let me tell you, a lot of the reasons that a lot of people that I have observed are not happy, successful, or focusing on what they love is because they don't slow down long enough. They're always stimulated by something, especially online, or communicating, or checking out through some kind of vice, right? That they're not in the present moment. They don't have a chance to catch their breath. And we have complete control over that. Sure, some of us have had to go through periods where we've worked more than one jobs, where we have a new big family, or we have a sick family member or pet and we have to dedicate extra time to nurturing, or our own health, something happens and we have to take care of ourselves. If you can find the peace in the middle of those storms, and have compassion with yourself and believe that you deserve a moment of pause, like the Hanged One over here, you can have greater perspectives. You can let go of what no longer serves you because you can pinpoint what is not necessary anymore. And that could be anything. Going inward doesn't have to be an elaborate spiritual journey every single time, though the more you meditate and have these mindful moments, the deeper you will go with it. But for the common person on these journeys, and in any place in life, mundane or mystical, if you don't have time to know yourself, how do you expect to know anybody else? In any relationship dynamic, in any facet, how do you have compassion for others if you don't even know who the heck you are? That's for somebody, that's not for everybody, that message. I want to pull one more here, one more oracle to close this out. Insight. Insight is the fruit of wisdom. Keep a learning attitude. I was telling y'all to sit back and pay attention to the other people in this, or pay attention to how you react in different aspects of yourself. Again, knowing yourself, sitting with yourself, or just being still enough to receive or release can bring you clarity, can bring you insight. And I believe I have a reading from, I want to say it was April, possibly March, called Insight Leads to Joy. That was one of the tarot quests from around that time, possibly March even. Check it out in the playlist. I feel like that's for somebody. Insight Leads to Joy. It could be connected to this. Again, timelines don't work in a linear fashion. Whenever you find something is when you're meant to find it. So thank you for joining this journey today. Thank you for being a part of the community. If you choose to subscribe, if you already have subscribed, thank you for following my work. For those of you that enjoy my other content where I do singing videos, channeled poems, poetry, prose, I appreciate you appreciating my creative expression. So on that note, express yourselves. And I hope you find the same love in yourself that I see is the potential in all of ourselves. Many blessings. This is Ellie, signing off.